Hey guys, so today I'm finally getting started back on this project, my semi-hollow firebird. I've been putting it off because I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to prepping and priming and painting in general. You guys know that I'm more of a stains and oils kind of guy, but you know, I figured I put it off for long enough. It's time to just give it a shot. So I dug around my shop and I found this old bucket of house paint, and I've got, you know, a nice brush and a trim roller. I figure, how hard can painting a guitar actually be? So let's find out if I can figure this out. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I know that I'm gonna have to do is sand this thing quite a bit better. And you'll notice that because I use cheap router bits, I've got some tear out right here. So you see all that tear out along there. I kind of have that all the way around. And then you'll also notice these kind of deep grooves in here that my router bits cause. So I'm gonna need to add in some wood filler and sand all that out first. Okay, now I've got this wood filler pressed into all those deep gouges and gaps that I know wouldn't come out just from a traditional sanding. So now I believe what I need to do is sand down the body to a medium or maybe a small fine grit sandpaper before I do the grain filling process. Now I don't exactly know what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna text my buddy Brad real quick and see what he says. I'm still recording this. Oh, so if you guys don't know, my buddy Brad is actually a professional guitar painter. He's absolutely stellar, way better at this than I am. So I asked him what to do next, and he said, before grain fill, your main concern is just knocking it down enough that you're filling pores and not the space between raised grain. I wouldn't go any further than 220 for that phase. 150 is adequate. Okay, so thanks Brad. We are gonna go ahead and sand this thing down so that we can get started with that grain filling process. Okay, I finally sanded this thing all the way up to 220, and I think it smoothed out quite a bit, all those gaps with the wood filler. So I think we're probably ready for the grain filling process. So I did just text Brad to see how to do that, and he said, actually just check out my video on it. So I'm gonna link it up there in the corner, and I'm just gonna summarize it for you. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some wood filler and we're gonna dilute it with some water to make a thinner paste. And we're gonna smear that all over the entire guitar body, and then we're gonna sand it back with ultra fine grit sandpaper. So again, if you want the full details, definitely watch Brad's video on it. I'm gonna link it down in the description as well. So as you can see, I just kind of got lazy. I wasn't having really much luck with my putty knives, so I ended up just smearing it all over with my hands, and I know this is a lot thicker than I want it to be. In fact, I can kind of pull off some of the excess. I don't know, I just felt like this is my first time. I'd rather go overboard than not enough. So just really pushing that filler down into the wood grain. This likely just means that I'm gonna have to sand a whole lot more, but you know what? There's the right way, the wrong way, and the Dan Thompson way.
Isn't that the wrong way?
Yeah, but faster.
So we'll just take a power sander to this again afterwards, which is probably gonna make Brad cringe a little bit, but you know what? It's my guitar. Do what I want. So I actually decided just now before I go to the hardware store and get more filler that I'm just gonna scrape off the excess with the putty knife per Brad's recommendation. Hopefully I'm not screwing this whole thing up. This is hands down the worst grain filling job in the history of the universe. So I hope you guys aren't trying to follow these instructions step by step, because you'll probably be disappointed. All right, so I actually went ahead and let this just dry completely for about, I don't know, half hour, but it's definitely dry. So now I'm gonna load up my orbital with a fresh 320 grit sanding disc, and I'm using the duragold sanding disc because they're the cheapest on Amazon. Affiliate link in the description. I don't know why I'm singing so much. I usually sing when I'm in a good mood, and I'd be in a good mood if I felt good about this project, but I do not feel good about this project. Okay, let's just see what happens. This actually might be just what the doctor ordered. it's actually turning out to be really smooth and almost got a sheen on it. Yeah, it feels pretty glassy smooth. I don't know if I'm doing this right. Now, I realize that I actually am all out of 320 grit sandpaper, so I'm just using that same sanding disc to kind of polish up these rounded edges. And I gotta say, it looks like it's turning out all right. This might work after all. I might be doing it good enough. Coffee break, cause I hate sanding. All right, you guys, new wood filler and second verse, same as the first. Let's go ahead and do this. All right, now this looks a little bit more like I think what I'm supposed to look like before sanding. So we'll go ahead and let this dry completely and then we'll sand it down. All right, so our front is now all dry and we're ready for sanding. And this time, unlike the back, I'm not gonna be using a machine sander and I'm not gonna be using 320 grit sandpaper. I actually have another tool that you will never see me use because I hate sanding, is a sanding block and some 400 grit sandpaper, okay? I'm doing this because this is what Brad did in his video, and apparently it's necessary to get a super smooth glass-like clear coat. You have to do this step. So I'm gonna do it. I don't really want to, and this is the #1 reason why you never see me painting guitars, because I freaking hate sanding. So cue that angry sanding montage. So obviously I ended up doing what I said I wasn't gonna do and use the power sander with a 320 grit sanding disc because honestly, the 400 grit was just taking too long and my arm was sore and I just hate sanding. So I was like, forget it. I'm prepared to deal with the consequences. So, but now that it's down to 320, I'm gonna go ahead and go over it with 400 and hopefully it'll turn out okay. Okay guys, I have been sanding for exactly 1 eternity. And I don't know if this is good enough. Mine doesn't quite have the same sheen on it that Brad's did in his video. It's got a little bit of a sheen. I think it's gonna be good enough. So I think I'm ready to paint. Got my bucket of house paint, my roller and brush. You know, Brad's been so helpful with this whole process. I think I'm gonna actually call him one more time before I get started on this project.
Hello?
Hey Brad, it's Dan again. Listen, I have done everything that you've told me to do to a T, and I'm getting ready to paint, and I was just wondering if you had any other, quick tips for me before I get started.
All right, what are you gonna use to paint it?
I've got this old bucket of house paint and a trim roller and a slightly used paintbrush that I think might do the job.
Dan, do you have any idea what the heck you're doing?
I think I've made it pretty clear right now that I have zero idea what I'm doing.
Listen, bud, that's a good looking guitar. I'd hate for you to screw it up with house paint and a roller. Why don't you just send it to me and I'll give it a real paint job?
Praise the Lord. I thought you'd never ask. Okay, I'll ship it off to you ASAP. Where do you live?
Canada.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just like Canada's like a loft apartment above a really great party.
What?
What? Nothing. Never mind. Guitar's in the mail. No takesy backsies. Okay, bye. One more thing. I did a really lousy job on the grain filling, so you're probably gonna have to redo that. Okay, bye.
Silly Americans don't even realize the real party's always in the penthouse. What have I gotten myself into? Where was I?
Okay guys, so it's been about 6 weeks since I shipped this guitar kit off to Brad for him to finish the paint job, and I can't wait to see it. I have no idea what it looks like. I gave him full creative liberty. I know personally I do my best work when I'm given full creative liberty, so I wanted him to do that. And so he got it done in 6 weeks. It only took me about 6 or 8 months to finish my portion of the collaboration, so you can tell which one of us is the slacker here. Now before I unbox this, let's give away some stuff. Last week I uploaded a video on the best budget in-ear monitors available this year, and if you are a live performing musician, a good set of in-ear monitors is very important. And so a couple of people on my notification squad, I just want to give you guys some in-ear monitors. So Christian White is on my notification squad, and he commented the first day that I uploaded the video that he could use a new set of in-ear monitors for serving on his church's worship team. So I'm going to send you these. These are the CCA C10s. Andrew Miller is also on my notification squad, and he was a super huge help because tons of you guys were commenting, you know, what would be the best in-ear monitors for me? I play this instrument, or I want to do this. What do you recommend? As I was reading through, he was replying to everyone's comments and giving really good suggestions. He's very knowledgeable on this stuff, and so I really want to reward him. So I'm giving him the most expensive ones on the list, and that's these CCA C16s. And I gotta tell you, man, I used these last weekend serving at church, and I am very sad to see these go. So Andrew and Christian, likely by the time you watch this video, those are already in your mailbox, so go check your mailbox. All right, finally, it's time to unbox this thing. I am so excited. Oh my goodness. I see Brad went for a nice bubble wrap theme. I would have never guessed that. Very creative. Just kidding. So, I'm actually not gonna show you this.
Oh, come on!
If you wanna see how this guitar turned out, watch Brad's video next, okay? Brad is a very cool guy, super creative. I draw all kinds of inspiration from him, so definitely check out that video and subscribe to his channel. All right, I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, and I'll see you in that next video.